Full body MRIs are the latest trend in preventative medicine. However, not all physicians are on board. Some of them think it's actually harmful, but that doesn't make sense, right? What shouldn't make sense? Because when you break a bone, you get in a car accident, you have a tumor, you've got a fibroid, you've got a cyst, you've got something going on in your brain, what do? An MRI. Then why are some physicians saying you shouldn't do it? Right? You shouldn't do a full body MRI, right? Doesn't that sound weird? It sounds weird to me because I saw this article. ABC News did this report about this situation, about this trend of full body MRIs are the latest trend in preventative medicine. What is preventative medicine? Preventative medicine is to do things to detect things earlier so that you can stop it from becoming something worse, like stage 4 cancer, right? If you can catch it at stage 1 and you can nip it in the bud, it never becomes stage 4. That's preventative medicine. But not all physicians are on the same page. And in this article by ABC News, the American Medical Association, AMA, they did a specific report that says, hey, it's not good to do a full body MRI, right? So let's dive into this article. But before I do that, I got to give you my disclaimer. Otherwise, YouTube or Google will shut my channel down. I am not a physician. I was not trained to prescribe medications. I was not trained to do surgery. I was not trained in acute emergency medicine. I was trained in traditional Chinese medicine, preventative medicine, restorative longevity medicine, herbs, nutrition. I was trained in to help people restore their organs' functions so that their bodies can heal itself and reverse their disease by themselves. So that's what I'm trained in. However, I'm going to give you my opinions about as we go through this news report, okay? Because of course, the news stations, they always leave out crucial information and they always side with a specific party, which you'll see which they side with. So let's dive in. So this news report was on May 7th, 2026, right? And it says right here, full body MRI scans are selling reassurance doctors say they can't deliver. Just from the title, what do you think ABC News is in agreement with? There's two sides of doctors, right? One side of the doctors say, hey, full body MRI scans are great for preventative medicine. And the other side are doctors, the AMA specifically, are saying, hey, you shouldn't be doing this, right? There's no benefit to it. Who do you think this news station is siding with, right? Obviously the AMA. But let's dive in to see what they're saying. Okay. From the start, it says, for someone who is generally healthy, these scans may be more likely to cause potential harm than benefit, according to Journal of American Medical Association, which is one of the science journals that all physicians follow and listen to, right? So obviously you can see many of the medical association disagree with people getting full body MRIs. Now, we'll get into details about why they disagree with it, okay? But let's move on down the news report, right? So companies and concierge medical practices market these scans directly to consumers, often without a doctor's referral, until they're not covered by insurance, right? So already in the beginning, the Medical Association, AMA, and also the news report is reporting negative news. They're reporting like companies and concierge medical practices are scamming consumers. That's what they're trying to imply. But, that's far from the truth. So even with a doctor's referral, no, you need a doctor's referral to get an MRI. I highlighted this pink because they wanted to make it seem like these companies are ripping off patients, which they are not. They're actually saving patients money. But this news article is toward the AMA. And so that's why they said they put this point. Typically, they're not covered by insurance. Let me give you a side note about reality. If you haven't experienced this yourself, we experienced this in our clinic, right? And so many of the patients who come to us, they've gone through all the medical treatments, gone through all the insurance chaos, and they have learned things that the insurance covers. First of all, most of it is emergency medicine, and it will save your life if you're in an emergency situation. But if you're in a chronic condition, insurance many times does not help you. It doesn't cover the services that you need to reverse your chronic condition. Because what does it cover? It covers emergency medicine. It covers acute medicine, right? And what does it cover? Medications. And how long do you have to take those medications? For the rest of your life. right? So if you have to do something, take something for the rest of your life, is it really helping your body heal? You got to ask yourself that question. Is it really restoring your health if you have to take this pill for the rest of your life? That's what insurance covers. So insurance covers a solution that never solves your problem. It never fixes your problem. I'm talking about chronic disorders, okay? Not talking about acute disorders. It saves your life in acute disorders. You should have medical insurance for that. I do, okay? But I have a high deductible for my chronic health. Well, obviously, I can treat myself, but this is what I recommend my friends when they come and ask me. And for our patients, same thing. So the insurance covers acute medicine. The treatments they cover for chronic disorders don't fix any of your problem. If you have hypertension, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, thyroid disorders, guess what? Ask any of your friends that have these chronic disorders and ask them how long have they been taking their medications. For years. That's the answer. Okay. Majority of them, maybe not all of them, but I would say more than 80% of them. Okay. So news article is misleading the readers to say, oh, because it's not covered by insurance, maybe it's not medically proven, maybe it's not for the benefit of the customer or the patient, right? No, it is, and I'll prove it to you. They're trying to sway you to say, hey, these concierge medical practices are terrible. They're trying to sway you to that because now they're going to tell you how much it costs. They're going to try to shock you and say, oh, the cost is steep. Why even say the word steep? Just report the cost, okay? It's $2,500 to $4,000 for a full body MRI. So they're trying to scare you and say, oh man, it's so expensive. But here's the information that they leave out. So this is from Kaiser, a hospital, very popular in West Coast in the US. They found that people with Medicare without supplemental coverage, if they were getting cancer treatments, they averaged $7,473 in 2016. This is their out of pocket. Here's some more information. Medicare covers a lot of cancer treatments, but even when they cover a lot, these patients they found in 2016 still had to pay $7,500 per year out of pocket. That's with Medicare coverage. Okay. Now, when you add inflation, now 10 years, we're in 2026 as I'm doing this video, 2026, that cost is $11,000 per year. Just that cost in 1 year, if you could get a full body MRI, let's just say even for $4,000 and detect a cancer at stage 1 or detect something that might be developing into a cancer and you are able to take action sooner and nip it in the bud, prevent it from happening, would it be worth to you? That is a decision you need to make yourself. Would it be worth to you to spend $4,000 to save $11,000, right? That's just for 1 year, but I'm not done yet. Because here's the full information. You can ask cancer patient. And if you have friends or family that have been through cancer, ask them, how many years do they get the treatments? It's rarely one. Because many times when cancer is caught, it's maybe already in stage 2, 3, 4. It's rarely stage 1 when it's just the beginning. On average, cancer treatments are for 5 years. So $11,000 per year for 5 years. And that is with insurance coverage. I didn't do the research for the private insurance because it's all different. So I did something that is governmental. Everybody has Medicare, when you reach a certain age. So now let me ask you the same question. Would you spend $4,000 to get a full body MRI and try to detect stage 1 cancer, or maybe even try to detect something that is abnormal in your body right now so that you can do something right now and prevent it from becoming a stage 4 cancer? Would you spend $4,000 so that you don't have to spend $55,000? Would you do that? Again, that is for you to answer, not for me to make a decision, and not for a physician, but you need to get all information from both sides. This is 2 groups of physicians fighting, but you need to get information from both sides. If you want, whether it's a financial decision or whether it's your life, that's why I'm doing this video, to give you the both sides that news channels always leave out, right? Because they have to receive funding. Where do they get the funding from, right? So we wrote this article to communicate to the general public the potential harm. So this is the AMA telling people, don't do these full body MRIs, okay? So there's potential harm of performing screening outside the standard of care, using a test that is not evidence-based. Well, let's start with performing a screening that's outside of standard of care. First of all, you need to decide, are you happy with the standard of care right now for the medical association? If you or your family members are struggling with a chronic health disorder and you've been struggling with it for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, are you happy with that? What if you or your family member could have prevented all of this? Or what if you could have solved this in 1 year or 5 years instead of going through all of this struggle for 20 years? Because that's the standard of care today. Now, if you're happy with the standard of care, obviously disregard this video. You don't need to watch the rest of this video. But if you're not happy with where your health is at, and I'm not happy. Actually, when I read this article, I got pretty frustrated because it's so misleading. I mean, some medical associations will accuse complementary medicines like traditional Chinese medicine of providing false information, but they are doing it themselves. It's another thing, but I don't want to get into that. So the standard of care, are you happy with the standard of care? And then it says using a test that is not evidence-based. Using a test that's not evidence-based, that doesn't make sense to me. They use MRIs. How is that not evidence-based? Are they going to stop using MRIs for other problems? It doesn't make sense. It's like they're contradicting themselves. It's not recommended by any medical society or guideline for use in the general public. So you have to think, the medical association is not here to reverse your health condition. They're not here to make your body healthier. They're here to help you not feel your symptoms so that you can somewhat live a better quality life. Like I said earlier, Western medicine in general is phenomenal in acute and emergency medicine. That's what they're great at. When it comes to chronic degenerative disorders, they're terrible at it. Because if they were great at it, we wouldn't have any of these chronic degenerative disorders today, right? Because if they had the fix, why didn't they fix you? You have to make the decision. Do you want to go with the standard of care that this physician is talking about? It's up to you. Some people do. It's not right or wrong. But I just want to give you all the information. This physician continues to say no major medical group recommends whole body MRIs for general population because the benefits remain unproven. So you also have to understand the AMA does not practice preventative medicine. They are not here to prevent you from getting sick. They are here to do one job. They wait for you to get sick and then they try to help you. They wait for an emergency, an acute situation, then they come in and treat you. Western medicine is not a preventative medicine. Preventative medicine, in my opinion, means you identify it earlier so you don't get it later. And if this full body MRI can do it, why not? I would do it. All right, let's move on. Once a scan flags something, it often triggers a cascade of testing, cost, and stress. Again, they're making this seem like it's going to cost more. They leave out this information, like I said, just about cancer. Which costs more, $4,000 or $55,000? This is out of pocket. The $55,000 is out of pocket. That's after your Medicare insurance covers. The harms come from things like invasive testing or surgeries or follow-up findings that are of uncertain benefit. So they're saying, hey, if you find something, that's not a good thing. That may not be a good thing. So again, you have to ask yourself, do you want to find out what's brewing, or do you want to wait until the S hits the fan, right? Do you want to wait till you already have cancer stage 4 to start doing something? Or do you want to wait before you even get cancer, that maybe you are showing signs that you're developing, your tumors are getting cancerous? But the AMA, they want you to wait until you get into an emergency situation so they can help you. They're not wanting you to prevent you from getting it in the first place. See, even when cancer is found, about 1 out of 2 of every 100 people, the JAMA piece points out that there is no evidence that detecting it this way helps people live longer. I don't know what research they're using, but there's research to debate this as well. Forget about the research. Let me just ask you this. If you were 1 or 2 people out of 100 people that this helped you find a cancer earlier before it turns to stage 4 and you're about to die, would you want to do that? Would you spend the $4,000 to find out? I would, without even thinking. Not all cancer is high risk. To me, all cancer is a red flag. I won't say it's high risk, it's a red flag. If I know I have cancer, I want to know now so I can do something about it. I can help my body. Your body's immune system is built to kill cancer cells. It's when your body loses that ability that cancer starts to multiply. In some cases, attempts to diagnose and treat can be counterproductive. This I don't understand. I highlighted this red because it just frustrates me. If I use this full body MRI scan, I'm able to detect a cancer early on and I treat it early on. How is that counterproductive? That's going to help me live a higher quality of life. I don't know about longer, but higher quality of life. How is that counterproductive? This is one of the chief medical officer from one of these clinics that does the full body MRI. He says that the risks cited by critics are overstated and the benefits of early detection are well documented, which I agree. The cost of early detection is a fraction of what late stage cancer treatments demand. That's exactly my point. This is the physician on the other side. And a healthcare system focused on keeping people healthy rather than forcing them to cash out on a crisis is one worth fighting for. I 100% agree with this physician because the AMA is exactly what he's saying. Why are we not trying to help? The healthcare system should be focused on keeping people healthy, but our current healthcare system is really a sick care system, right? We are forcing them. The AMA, he's saying that the medical establishment is forcing them to cash out. They are forcing you to cash out on crisis. Why do you think people go into financial crisis when they get cancer or there's some type of, degenerative disease, right? Because they are forced to cash out. They have to do all these expensive testing, all these expensive treatments. It's too late. Why not detect it earlier? I mean, I just can't emphasize that enough. Empowering patients, not gatekeeping information from them, is the future of preventative medicine. This is so crucial. I 100% agree with this. Preventative medicine is empowering patients. Don't you want to know more information about your own health? You don't need to go to medical school to learn. That's what doctors went to school. That's what they're supposed to do, but they don't. The Western medical system is not there to empower you. It's not there to help you prevent disorders. It's there to treat you when you get into an emergency situation, which is great. I'm not saying that's bad. I love that. If I'm in an emergency, I'm going to Western medicine. I'm going to the hospital. And I want you to also. Don't come to our clinic, okay? But you're not in an emergency every single day. So then what do? Why are you using emergency methods, right? And this doctor says, not gatekeeping information from them. So you have to ask these doctors, why are they not wanting to give you more information about your own health? Why are they saying this full body MRI doesn't give you enough information, beneficial, it's actually counterproductive? It's your body. Ask your physician. If your physician refuses to do a test to provide you more information about what's going on in your body, I challenge you. Ask your physician, if you don't do this test, are you willing to bear the burden, the consequence? A few months down the road, I find out I have cancer. Are you going to pay for my cancer bill? You should ask your physician that if they refuse to do a test to give you more. They're gatekeeping information. Now, some physicians do it because insurance tells them to do that, right? So that's a whole nother story. Davenport agrees early detection matters, but he says it only works when it targets people who are likely to benefit. Who does not benefit from early detection? I just don't understand. Okay, for everyone else, more testing just leads to more uncertainty. Do you want more information about your health or do you want less? Now, I know some people, they're like, I don't go to doctors because I don't want to know what's wrong. It's their choice. But let's say you are someone who wants to know what's going on in your body. Do you want more information or you want less? Because the AMA is saying you don't need more. We will tell you what you need. You don't tell us what you need. So, I mean, it's so weird. I think the real issue here is, does the test create health value irrespective of price? Again, they're trying to use the price thing, but let me ask you, does this test create health value? Does knowing that you have a weakness in a specific organ, does that help you? Does that create value for me? Absolutely it does. If my liver is dysfunctioning, my liver, everywhere, there's cysts or there's something going on, there's growths all over my liver. Okay, I need to start eating foods that's going to benefit my liver. I'm going to start eating anti-inflammatory foods. I'm going to start making sure I decrease my sugar. There's so many things you can do. The reason why people get into health crisis is because they don't have enough information. And this article news is you can see out of this whole article, only a small portion was supporting the preventative medical clinics. So again, you see, it is our opinion that health value is extremely low. Hey, I'll just end with that. It's up to you. I'm not here to make you a decision, but I just read this article. I was shocked at how the AMA doesn't want you to have more information about your health. But you make the decision. Do you want information? And are you willing to pay the $4,000 to get a full body MRI so that you don't have to pay $55,000 in the future?